Ah, there you are, Virgo. Welcome, Virgo, to your Virgo April 2021 reading and a forecast, prediction, and tarot show and reading. I'm Nigel Saint James. For those of you who haven't seen me before, of course, it's great to see the subscribers back again. My love and affection to you. It's always good to see you, and I appreciate your continued support. I love Virgo. Virgo is, well, all the signs are good, but I have a particular affection for Virgo, for reasons that I will one day go into, I'm sure. Now, what I'm going to do here is, you may not have seen this deck before. In fact, it was given to me by a witch, really. She gave it to me wrapped in string. Did you know that the tradition amongst mystics is to, if they provide a gift of tarot cards, to actually wrap it in string or in rope? Yeah, you very often don't see it, but if ever I give a deck to someone, that's what I do. And for those of us who are in the know, as you are now in the know as well, that's what you do. But let me just say this also, is I've had the great pleasure of doing some one-on-one clairvoyant readings with a number of you over the last month. And if you want to have a clairvoyant reading with me, it takes an hour. Just check out the description below, and you can see how easy it is for that to happen from wherever you may be living in the world. Now, let's get some cards in play for you. Now, this lady, good friend of mine for a long time, said this is a difficult deck to read. Well, I actually find it a good deck to read, and that is the Eight of Pentacles. It is difficult, there's no doubt about it, but if you know what you're doing and you can work out the esoteric symbology, as you would expect me to be able to do by now, then, as I hope I can do, and sure I can do, that's the star incidentally, then the meanings become clear. And so I think that this is going to bring you great comfort and joy for this month. So we'll see what there is in store for you. Because my mission here in life and on YouTube and in readings is to bring comfort and peace and knowledge of what is going to happen in the future, how to resolve things, what is going to occur, and how things are going to turn out. What's here? See this? What's that? The Page of Swords. It's quite a good card for you, I think, that one there. And there is the Wheel of Fortune. My goodness me. It's all happening for you, Virgo, and that's fantastic. Why don't you come and sit down next to me? These cards will speak to me, and I'll tell you what they have to say. Great set of cards. Let's look at this first one here, the Eight of Pentacles, or as I call it, the Lord of Prudence. What an interesting, earthy, very earthy scene. The pentacles, of course, are earth. Now here we have, according to the developer, the sun in Virgo. Now I would agree with that, but I would call it the first decan of Virgo. Now, you know how each sign takes up 30 degrees of the zodiac wheel? Well, each sign itself is divided into 3 decans, they call it, of 10 degrees each. The first, 0 to 10, is the cardinal decan, sometimes called the movable decan. The second, from 10 to 20, is the fixed decan, and the third, 20 to 30 degrees, is the mutable or changeable decan. This is the sun in the first decan of Virgo, I think, which is the 23rd of August to the 2nd of September. Now, what's really interesting here is that the number 8 is, for me, mystically associated with the planet of Mercury. And Mercury is the ruler of Virgo, and Mercury is also exalted in Virgo, so this is very favorable. And the sun here, well, the sun just energizes Virgo's hard work and attention to detail. I think we see here the flowering of internal and external richness, wisdom, development, carefulness, and I think what's necessary here is as I say, it's the Lord of Prudence, a degree of prudence, of care needing to be taken with things. That is care in how you make plans, care in how you deal with things that you might have in store. Now, the rulership of Sun in Virgo also, for me, suggests a birth. And what we see here is, with these discs all around here, we see a great degree of expansion and the roots of the trees in the solid and fertile land. It's a time of flowering that relates to internal and external richness on all four levels of being. Long hidden abilities and possibilities are now becoming visible. The number 8, in addition to being associated with Mercury, for me, numerologically, also stands for harmony, adjustment, balance. And as you unfold in equal measure on all levels of being, a deep sense of psychic equilibrium develops. This in turn affects your dealings on the material and interpersonal planes, particularly at times of multifaceted flowering. Extremes and excesses should be avoided. Internal flowering is a delicate process which occurs in stillness. It is a gift to handle lovingly and with great care. Every bloom on a tree is shielded by leaves, a symbol for protection and prudence. I really think that in the position that this card has come out, that it suggests that you need time and patience to develop something. Don't rush it, as it's a longer-term thing, and be prepared to bide your time and just to let it come to fruition. But this energy is an encouragement for you to keep doing what you are doing, as it will eventually lead to success. Sure, it's going to require a lot of dedication, focus, and patience, but as time passes, you get closer to your goal. Now, it may not be apparent to you, but events are unfolding in the background that are going to lead you to your destination. Now, it could well be that some additional training or study may be required to advance to where you want to go with projects. And it's particularly a time for you to make sure that you manage the energies between the different parts of your life. That which is coming into flower in you is of exquisite beauty and delicacy. Provide for it the protection and nourishment it needs. You don't need to force anything. Everything unfolds at the proper time. Are you really giving yourself the protection and nourishment that you need now for your development? Just say to yourself this, because you can at this time. I relax and I trust in life. Well, shall we go next to the other card on this top line, which is that of the star? Well, let's have a look at the star. Now, opposite prudence and with the wheel of fortune underpinning it, what does the star mean for you for this month? Now, the developer there's a symbol here for Aquarius. And in fact, I'll go further and say it is Saturn ruling Aquarius with Neptune exalted, the star, the daughter of the firmament. Now, every woman and every man for me is a star. Aquarius is all about the individual and uniqueness, and yet it has an overall humanitarian outlook, I think. Well, the star shares these qualities in that it is trying to remind you about the divinity and the uniqueness which is within you, while encouraging you to become a conduit for bringing down your highest potential. Now, you may be interested, and we saw this was the glyph of Aquarius. You might ask yourself, what is that? Well, I'll tell you what that is. That is a biblical Hebrew letter, the 5th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and it's called Hey. How can I best explain this? Imagine the light of the divinity consisting of pure white light everywhere, endlessly, containing all information that is possible ever to be. and even impossible to be. Well, the Hebrew letters, they act as a sort of a lens through which that light can be refracted and act as a sort of a projector to put across messages to you. And in this case, this letter He, which is here, represents divine revelation, the breath of the Creator. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, there is a book in the Hebrew Bible of the Old Testament called the Book of Psalms, and in Psalm 33, chapter 33, verse 6, I think it is, it says, "By the word of the Lord the heavens were made, and by the breath of his mouth, all of their host." So there's the breath being the creation. The world was created with the utterance of Hey, breath. It represents the gift of life and creates the verb of being in Hebrew, which is Hayah. It is divinity, the spiritual life that comes about from the first four letters before it, this being the fifth letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It represents the life essence in all creation. It symbolizes the effortlessness of the world and is the symbol of divinity and gentility. It contains within it the freedom of choice. There is still free will. And He, of course, is one of the letters of the holy name. We may know that name as Yahweh, YHVH. Now, we say Yahweh, but we don't actually know how it was pronounced, because in the ancient biblical texts, there were no vowel markers to say how a letter might be pronounced. But that seems to be it. And in any way, in the Hebrew YHVH, it would be Yud, He, Vav, He, as being the holy name. So that gives it a special significance. Now, this card represents a beautiful process. Cosmic inspiration of the highest nature is received and made manifest on the material plane. Now, this woman, she is the channel used by divine energy to manifest on earth. She has her hands open down here, being receptive to the rays of energy that pour. A new crystal clear vision lends form and purpose to that which only a moment ago was a vague impression. You gain a more penetrating view into the boundless potential of your development. The power of inspiration you receive gives wings to your soul and lets the apparently impossible become manifest in marvelous ways. This is a card which is coming to you to talk about crystallization, self-recognition, a clear vision, a trust in yourself, certainly a connection to universal intelligence, but also hope and happiness. And speaking of opportunities and optimism, and you are having cosmic blessings poured upon you. This is a time when you will feel fulfilled and inspired by life, and it's a reminder for you to follow your dreams and those dreams which give you the most inspiration, and be open to love and trust creation and what it brings. Encouragement is now being given to you that you have had testing times, haven't you, in the past? And now is the time to move forward with renewed hope and live an inspired life that you can express yourself fully in. Let your star rise and stay in contact with the earth. Trust your environment and find ways to let others share in it. You will be tested and recognized by the fruits you bear. Maybe ask yourself, are you totally fulfilled in your present area of work? Check to see if you are doing everything possible to bring your ideas to fruition. And say this to yourself, My creative powers of imagination and my connection to all-encompassing consciousness show me the way to realize my ideas. I am a radiant light being. I am a star that walks upon a bigger star. Well, now, where shall we go next? Let's have a look here and see. I think we might go to this here. That is the Page of Swords, who, notwithstanding the figure on here, I get a great deal of feminine energy around this, and so I'm going to refer to it as a she. She is the Page of the rushing winds, the lotus of the palace of air. She brings about the materialization of an idea, and people important to you at this time may well be Pisces, Capricorn, possibly Aquarius as well. Now there's a young woman here, I think, but these cards can be of either gender, of course, court cards. But a young woman, I think, who can be seen as being stern and revengeful, and it's possible that you could well have some of these qualities, or they could be contained in these other people that you know. She is the earthly part of air. Now, earth and air, esoterically, are enemies of each other. They weaken each other. You can imagine a tornado coming in and what it does to the earth, or a typhoon, or a hurricane, or a cyclone, what that does to the earth and the trees. We should expect to see some conflict in her nature. The implication of earth in air, however, is that she deals with situations involving the mind in a very tangible way. That is, she can manifest her thoughts and turn them into a reality. Now, with somebody else, they can sometimes refer to people who sort of attract troubles. They can be unhappy people when it comes to practical and material matters, as if all the fine qualities of air are weighed down and suffocated, and they may appear to be as children of misfortune. But this is the type of person who is quite capable of throwing everything overboard. You may at this time throw everything overboard in relation to something, much to the shock and amazement of everybody around you, and yet it will turn out that you, just as she, has done the right thing. I've just noticed another one of these biblical Hebrew letters here. That's that one there. I don't know if you can see it here. It's sort of like it's like a straight line, a vertical line with a little hook on it. And it's the 6th letter of the biblical Hebrew alphabet, called Vav. Now, Vav is the power to unite everything that is separated in creation. Now, literally, Vav means a hook or a peg, and as I say this, you can see that because it's a vertical line with a bit of a hook on the end of it, so you can hook it onto things and then tie other things to it. It represents the vertical line extension of the Creator's perfection into the created world in order to constantly direct it, guiding the cycle of existence step by step until eventually the perfect oneness of the Creator, which underlies all of creation, is revealed. But be that as it may, the character of this person here actually can be quite stern and revengeful. Her logic can be destructive. She is firm and aggressive sometimes, but a great practical wisdom she has, and a subtlety in material things. She shows great cleverness and flexibility and ability in general in the management of practical affairs, especially if there's any controversies or arguments involved. She's very good at sorting out arguments and settling controversies. Every change, every inner conflict you experience sends smoke and ash, emotions and moods flying into the air. But she uses her sword to sweep away moods and disruptive thoughts which arise. She is resolute and aggressive, dealing very well, as I say, with practical issues. And she can, however, prove to be an extremely rebellious person who isn't to be intimidated either by the established order or people who consider themselves to be within the establishment or having some special right attached to them. So I think what's going to happen is that you are going to be clever in practical matters, especially if there's any arguments. Now, you may have a destructive way of analyzing things and applying the results, so be careful of that. You could be aggressive. You may feel vengeful at times. You will, however, be very, I think, forward and outgoing during this time, and you'll be able to get your ideas grounded in a practical way. Yeah. This represents sometimes a person who is following their own bent rather than serving another. And as I say, in due course it seems that they've chosen right and ultimately they get their reward. Now this can be following the heart or following a lifestyle, maybe becoming an entrepreneur or starting your own business. But if that's the case, do it slowly and cheaply, because in the Suit of Swords, things don't come quickly. Your thoughts and vision may at times destroy holy altars. Don't let yourself be buried by any of the flying debris. Don't allow your moods to take hold of you, and remain true to your real ideas. What old holy altars are present in your surroundings and in your life? And do you have the courage to destroy them or to ignore them? But look inside to see if your rebellion is rooted in love, and say this to yourself: my rebellion is positive, constructive, and creative. Okay, let's have a look then at, what's this center card here? This is the Ten of Wands, which should be, and is Saturn in Sagittarius. Saturn in Sagittarius, well, I'd say it's the third decan of Sagittarius, that 13th of December to the 22nd of December, so it's that changeable. It's changeable, and in fact, the card itself, tens are very unstable and movable. This is about the energy flowing through. This Ten of Wands is going to show up next in the Ace of Cups, which is about unconditional love. Now, Sagittarius, and Saturn ruling it. Well, Sagittarius wants to expand and express its optimism and its spiritual side. And Saturn, it can be said sometimes, is about restriction and represses the expansive nature of Sagittarius. So there's some sort of a conflict going on here. I've got to be frank about it from an astrological point of view. I think what we see here is that the Sagittarian readiness to communicate may be blocked by Saturn, and it's possible that fear could arise. So keep your channels of communication open. Don't just muse on things by yourself. Don't ruminate on things. If you fear rejection or disapproval or punishment, you will begin to repress your own impulses. Your strength, your vitality, and your life energy cannot be expressed. Now, when repressed, these energies turn into irritation, rage, violence. If this aggression finds no external outlet, you may turn it inward on yourself, and it may express itself as self-denigration or depression in all its aspects, which can also include illness. But this card for you really is an invitation. It's an invitation to you here to recognize and end your repression and restriction of your own life impulses. This is a step towards taking responsibility for yourself and freeing yourself from unjustifiable restrictions and limitations. Now, whether you are consciously repressing yourself or not, recognize that there is much more which you would like to express, to experience, to enjoy and celebrate. So it's a time to dare. There are some things that you have always wanted to say to certain people, aren't they? What are those things? And who are those people? You've got license now, for the time being just for yourself, to express those things right now. And say to yourself, I have the right to follow, and I will follow, my feelings and life impulses. But here you have the Lord of the forces of life, the great wheel of fortune. This is a tremendous energy for you. It talks about abundance, prosperity, fortune. It is Jupiter all over it here. And it's talking about new beginnings, expansion, creativity, big breakthroughs, really a self-realization, unexpected fortune coming towards you. So there's opportunity, luck around you, the chance of winning things. Now, there would be some ups and downs, some balancing and rebalancing, but that's only normal. This Hebrew letter that's in the corner here, that's called Kaf. It's the 11th letter, and it is that which gives form to matter, containing all the possibilities of containing, building and forming all existence. It is the letter of formation, building the straight line that we talked about before into a curved shape. It allows you to bend and govern your tendencies and to shape your character. This represents unexpected changes coming to your life, which will be favorable, but which may not necessarily seem that way at the first. So be ready to act on any unexpected opportunities. Change is about to happen. Now, you may need to do something to alter your present course or change the things around you to allow things to come into being. If no miracles are happening, something is wrong. You stand before the possibility of a great breakthrough, so use this moment. Say to yourself, I am now ready for the miracle of my life. And that is the way it is for you this month. Well, it was my pleasure and privilege to provide that reading for you. Isn't it interesting, the things that come through with tarot cards? You know how one card can have so many things that it wants to get across to you. It never ceases to amaze me, and I'm confident that you will have enjoyed it as well. Look, and if you do enjoy it, please do me the favor and hit the like button. Apparently, it does things for the YouTube gods, and it would help more people see what we ourselves enjoy. But listen, in the meantime, though, there's one thing that I want you to remember, and to remember it always, and that is this: that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.